My name is Amy Shippy, and I'm a watercolor artist and a baker, and I like to inspire women who want to be entrepreneurs. A lot of times when you're in your 20s, you're trying to prove yourself to somebody. In your 30s, you're trying to look like you have it all together. When you get to your 50s, it's just you're you, and you can take a deep breath and just realize that it's okay, and you can really just quit pretending and can just authentically be yourself. And that's what my favorite part of being 50 is. Again, my confidence was really prove-based. I mean, everything I did in my 20s was to prove that I was smart, prove that I was going to be successful, prove that I was worthy of whatever it is. I was an entrepreneur in my 20s and owned my first business at 21. So, you have a lot of naysayers when you're young, and so you're spending a lot of time trying to overcome those obstacles. In my 50s, I've been extremely successful. I've lost it all. I've had to rebuild it from the ground up more than one time. And in my 50s, I'm just like, it's okay. And you've got this. And I know in my own self that I'm not a one-trick pony, that I can reinvent. And it just gives me a lot of confidence to say, yeah, you are enough. And that's okay. Well, at 21, you really don't know any better. So I can't, just really young and dumb. And so you just go for it because, when you're 20, you feel like the whole world is going to lay down at your feet. And I've been pretty lucky in my career that the things that I've tried have worked out. So, but truthfully, I just didn't know enough to be scared. So I just really wasn't. So I have 3 sons, and I was looking for a revenue source to send them to college. I had a very successful business in my 20s and 30s that we ended up losing during the recession. And so all the plans that I had for like their college education and things like that went away when that business closed. And so I had to come up with a way to be able to fund them to go to college. And I had a bakery, and so I wanted a little side hustle, and I developed Blue Poppy Designs out of the really fast approaching need for them to go to college, and college is expensive. So I am just somebody who passionately loves to do something new. I mentioned earlier that I mentioned to you in a conversation that I love to do something new every year. And so I try something new every single year. And I find that it creates new pathways. It creates this ability my brain has to kind of operate. And so for me, it's just about keeping myself stimulated in a way that makes life interesting. So I do all the different things that I do just because it really, truly trying something new brings me just tremendous joy. My mother is an interior designer, and so, color and that process has just kind of always been around. My mother was a great cook. She read cookbooks like novels when we were little. I love to cook. I love to bake. I am just my happiest in like a store full of like yarn and glitter. Just walls of color just make me like oozy happy. So I always surround myself with color just because it just brings me joy. And I think in this world, there's so many things that don't bring us joy. There's so many things that we have to do that I have really for the last 20 years or 15 years or so have just really been dedicated to trying to find things in my life that just bring me joy for no other reason except that they make me happy. And I think it helps with mental health to be able to go into my work and my jobs and do the things that I have to do, because not everything about business is super joyful, but surrounding myself with things that bring me joy, like color, like movement, like that creativity. I have to constantly feed that side of my brain because it really keeps me balanced. And it just, at the end of the day, it just makes me smile, and I love that. So I am super passionate about women entrepreneurs. And, I talk to a lot of women, and they have this idea and they get so scared that it might fail. And so in that, it's not even that the whole concept will fail. It's just like the first obstacle down the pathway. And they're like, I should never have done this. And I'm like, well, that's 100% guaranteed. If you try anything, it's not going to work out. You're going to have an obstacle. And so I love mentoring women to help them get out of their own head and to see that really you're not defined by the success any more than you're defined by the failure. And when I lost my multi-million-dollar business at 40 years old, I really felt for about 3 weeks that was going to define me as fail. Even though I had built this huge business, which should have defined me as success. But as women, we tend to kind of internalize the valley as opposed to internalizing the mountain. And so when I work with women and show them that really business is a journey, people see success and they see me, and I'm like, you're seeing me at M, but you didn't see me at B. You didn't see the beginning. You're seeing, it's like you're just seeing a grown child, and you didn't see all the sleepless nights and sicknesses and all the things that went up through the process. And I look at business as that. And so I think that women especially need mentors to help them realize that, we're going to have obstacles, and it's how we overcome the obstacles, it's how they overcome the obstacles, it's how I overcome the obstacles that really become the answer to defining success. I'm a low country girl at heart. I grew up on Hilton Head Island, which is just right over the bridge. And we came to Savannah, twice a year to go school shopping. And that's because that was the closest mall. And, I love the low country. I love being near the ocean. I love the community. It's a very active community of people. So if you want to be involved and get in there, Savannah has more outlets than I could even count. If you want to get into the networking, if you want to get into just knowing other business owners, there's a lot of places for that to be had in Savannah. I love being close to my family. My husband's family lives here, and it's just, in my opinion, just a great place to raise my kids. And, I just think there's just something magical every afternoon when I drive home and I drive down this long causeway with marsh on both sides. And, for me, I could have had the worst day, and that road opens up and that marsh kind of fills everything I can see, and I can take a deep breath and know that I fought the hardest fight I could fight that day, and I will fight it again tomorrow. And so it's just, the low country for me is just a very healing place, and so I love Savannah. Well, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by too late, because if you're still breathing, there's still opportunity. So I don't think there's a time limit on our value and what we can contribute to the world. I think that you've got plenty of stories out there of women in their 40s and their 50s, and they, had their first success in that decade or in that generation. And so, I think if we're still moving, and you are someone who loves to see opportunity in the world around you, go for it. Truthfully, the worst that can happen is that you could fail. And I failed. And so I can tell you that even in failure, if that's the worst thing that can happen, you can pick yourself up and you can start all over again. So I don't think there's ever, as long as you're living, I just think that you have the opportunity to do anything that you want to do. I don't think there's a time limit on opportunity.